2010 to 2019, it was a good decade. It was a good decade to be a Bengals fan. Sure, it might not have ended the way most of us wanted to see. Actually, it kind of did still, picking up Joe Burrow because of that bad season. But nonetheless, this team has ran through a lot of impact players. And today, we're going to go over my personal list of who I think were the 5 most impactful players on the Bengals in the past decade. Would love to hear your guys' list as well. But here we go. Number 5. That would be 10. Number 5, Tyler Eifert. What could still be with Tyler Eifert? We could find out here in the future. There was a reason this team kept giving him chance after chance after chance, season after season, coming off injury after injury after injury. He was a difference maker, period, point blank. The best season the Bengals had over this past decade was the one put together in 2015 where they went 12-4. We'll reference that season a lot in this video. The year Eifert snagged 13 touchdowns. He was the most feared player on that team when you got into the red zone. The legacy would hold true for years to come from that standpoint. He would go on to play 8 games the following season. Injuries still a concern. His utilization being used less and less because of that fear of him being injured, that want to have him at the end of the season type of deal. You follow that up by 2 more seasons, missing 10 plus games before finally getting in a full season healthy last year in what was a disaster of an offensive season for these Bengals. It's important to note, this is a list of my personal 5 most impactful players on the Bengals that during the 2010s. That does not necessarily mean they was the best players on the Bengals. We are talking pure impact on this team type of players, and it is hard to argue the impact Eifert had on the field when healthy. He was that go-to guy in the red zone, that bigger target, that guy you could always count on to get open, come down with the ball, and score that much needed touchdown. When he went down with injury, the difference was clear as day. When the Bengals entered the red zone game in and game out, they didn't really have that red zone nightmare per se for other teams to match up against. I know AJ Green, don't worry, we'll get to him, but what made AJ and everyone else's job a heck of a lot easier when they did get in that red zone was a giant target painted on the back of Tyler Eifert during games. It left teams choosing between doubling AJ or doubling Tyler. It created mismatches for everyone else on the field. It made everybody else's life easier, and it reflected that. It reflected in the red zone efficiency the Bengals would have when Tyler Eifert was on the field. In a game where settling for field goals will cost you wins, Eifert was a key force in putting touchdowns and W's on the board when he was healthy. And call it bold, but if he stays healthy throughout his tenure, I think he's looked at as a top 5 tight end in the league right now. And there's no non-Bengal currently that I'm going to be pulling for more in the 2021 season to try to bounce back, resurrect that career, and really come back to how he was back in the past. I wish him nothing but the best of luck over in Jacksonville. Number 4 on our list is Andrew Whitworth, the unsung heroes that make everything tick on offense. That offensive line often do not get enough credit in the NFL. Andrew Whitworth deserves all that praise and then some. 7 of which 10 seasons in the past decade were played with the Cincinnati Bengals. He was a 3-time Pro Bowler, 1-time All-Pro during that time. He was a true leader on and off the field, a man that would welcome rookies into his home, show them the ropes, make others around him feel comfortable that they're on the team. And let's not forget his ability to protect the backside of the quarterback. He's one of the best at what he does, to step on the field in the Bengals uniform. And I think we learned that even more when we seen Mike Brown let Whitworth go into free agency, which at the time made sense. Whit was going to be 36 next season, a decline and concern for injury. It had to be there. And you thought Cedric Ogbuehi was going to develop into a bona fide tackle, neither of which happened. Ogbuehi's stint with the Bengals would be very short-lived. Meanwhile, Whitworth would go on and make his 2nd All-Pro team, his 4th Pro Bowl, and be a key piece in a dominant Los Angeles Rams offense the following season. 38 years young last season, Whit allowed all of 1 sack the entire season. Incredible. Meanwhile, the Bengals would go on the next 3 seasons realizing how big of an impact Whit really did have on this offensive line, as they would shuffle through player after player with no answer to plug the hole that was left on that left side of the offensive line. Number 3 is Geno Atkins. Geno, he's played every game in his NFL career in this past decade, recording 8 Pro Bowl nominations, 6 seasons with 9 or more sacks, and 2 first-team All-Pro selections in that time. And he is without a doubt going to go down as one of the best interior tackles to ever suit up in a Bengals uniform. The Bengals have had some great edge rushes over this past decade. Dunlap immediately comes to mind, but what makes things easier for these guys like the Dunlap, Michael Johnson, Wallace Gilbury, was having a pass rushing machine like Geno Atkins right smack in the middle of that line. You force teams' hands. You give Geno the one-on-one, he's gonna bull rush that center or guard right up the middle and plant that QB straight on the ground. You have to double him. You double Geno though, and now you're forced to let Carlos have that one-on-one with the tackle. And let me tell you what, Dunlap was just as big of a piece of this defensive line as Geno was. It's tough to pick between the two, being completely honest here. The Bengals have been fortunate enough that neither of these two have really went down for any long period of time, just besides the one season Geno missed the end of the year. Was it? I want to say it was a knee. Was it a knee? Man, I don't remember. He missed the last 7, 8 games of that season. Besides that, though, the Bengals have been very fortunate that both of these guys have been able to stay healthy and suit up for pretty much every game of their career here. So we really haven't had that chance to say, oh, what would happen if the Bengals had to, live life without either one of these guys. But from a pure offensive disrupting perspective, that man coming straight up the middle into the QB's face, forcing ill-advised passes, not to mention when at his best, his ability to close out games by getting to the QB. You gotta love Geno here and the impact he's had on his team. Ooh, maybe our controversial pick here. Love it. You'll either love it or you'll hate it, I guess, right? Vontaze Burfict, baby. Vontaze Burfict coming in at number 2. I'm sure we can all recall a game or two when Burfict's antics cost this Bengals team a game. Fact of the matter is, this guy's antics cost this man a lot at the end of the day. But from 2012 to 2017, there was no player who had a bigger impact on this defense in my, again, opinion here. This was a guy who started 16 games once his entire career and amassed a league-leading 171 tackles that season. He was on pace to finish each of his first 6 seasons with over 110 tackles had he played all 16 games. Think about this. Think about all the problems this man caused this team. All the suspensions, all the dirty plays, the penalties, and they continue to stick with him. You don't get away with this stuff without being an elite player, without being somebody that is worth dealing with this stuff for. He continued to get chances. He got the chance on the Raiders. You have to be a good player, a very good player in this league to continue to be given chance after chance after chance. 2015, Burfict missed 6 games. Of those 6 games, 5 of them, the Bengals allowed 19 or more points on defense. He comes back for the final 10. This team allows over 19 points twice the rest of the year. 4 100-yard rushers in the 6 games Vontaze Burfict missed. Final 10 games, there was 2. First 3 games of 2016, Burfict, again, gone, suspended. It wasn't suspended. I can't keep up. There might have actually been a time where Burfict started the year injured as well. But, it's typical to start suspended. We expected it. That had to be a suspension year because that was the year everybody would love to forget the end of the season too. But that was, the team allows 22 or more points in every single game. Those first 3 games, Burfict misses. The final 13 games of the season, the defense allows 22 or more points 4 times the rest of the season. The first 5 years of this man's career, he played in 10 or more games in every season but 1. Every single one of those seasons, the Bengals finished with a top 8 scoring defense in the league, except for 1. Can you guess which one it was? Now, ultimately, I think these, we'll go back to it. The antics led to his demise. Burfict declined quickly. He was not the same player in 2017 or in 2018. But what do you expect? I think you look back at the way this guy played, he wasn't going to change the way he played. He continued to play at this really unsustainable level of, violent play on the field, to put it down easily here. All those leading with the helmets, it adds up. You're going to get the concussions come in, and you talk about other injuries. You talk about coming into the season suspended. You miss those games. You ain't getting the practice, the training, not the same that you would being on the team, of course. You come in, not playing, and you got to get that rust off. You got a better chance of coming back and getting injured, jumping right into the play. And I mean this in no ill way at all, but I think the likelihood of CTE problems in this man's future is through the roof. And it does make you wonder how much all of this stuff kind of plays a role in why Burfict at age 29 right now isn't as dominant as he once was. But again, he was a difference maker on this team. You could see the difference. You could feel the difference on this defense when he was not on the field and when he was on the field for those first 4, 5, 6 years of his career. And you have to give the man props for that. Number 1 on this list, I don't think there's even a debate on this one. We said we'd get back to him. Adriel Jeremiah, friends. AJ Green. There is no player that has had a bigger impact on the Bengals winning or losing games over the past decade than AJ Green. November 20th, 2016, home game against the Bills. I was there, won't forget it. This is the year that we moved from the Bengals going 12-4. We're feeling pretty good. We're expecting playoffs again, right? Bengals start the season 3-4-1. Not the most ideal of starts, but it was 4 losses that were against, the powerhouse defense in Denver, the Steelers, Patriots, and Giants, all good teams that season. So it wasn't a, big red flag, something to be completely concerned about. But the Bengals needed to beat the Bills. 3-5-1. You have room for maybe one more loss the rest of the year. You're not making playoffs. On the other hand, 4-4-1 looks a lot better for a team, and you got a chance. On what was a season after losing Marvin, Sanu, this team was going to ride or die on AJ Green through the air. Everyone knew it. Everyone knew it, and he still was on pace to have the best season of his career. It was week 10, though. AJ was 36 yards away. Think about that. 36 yards away from over 1,000 going into week 10. He was playing great ball, and he goes down with an injury, and you can see the shock, you can feel the shock and the what next, speechlessness of the chances of AJ Green missing significant time with the team. You talk about a morale killer. The Bengals had finished the season not bad, 3-4, would actually be one of their better seasons or better records with AJ Green on the sideline. 2018, just 2 seasons ago, the Bengals start 5-3, promising season. Again, you're feeling good about this team making a push into playoffs. AJ Green goes down, though. The Bengals then go on to lose 7 of the last 8 games of the season. 2019, do we really want to talk about last season? Not really. We've talked about this multiple times now with Andy Dalton. Now, the Bengals coaching staff groomed Andy Dalton to throw the ball to AJ Green, his security blanket, AJ Green, which, hey, it's a great game plan because he's a stud receiver, but I always think of it as developing a quarterback, but you allowed him to walk around with a bad knee and a crutch the entire time. You never taught him to walk without that crutch, so you ripped that crutch away, and what happened? This Bengals offense was night and day different without AJ on the field. It was tough to watch on multiple occasions this offense operate without AJ. I mean, let's talk about since the inception of the AJ Andy Dalton draft tandem in 2011, the Bengals are a staggering 6-28-1. 6-28-1. Let that sink in without AJ Green in the lineup. Since 2011, the Bengals record is 73-69-2, a positive decade. When AJ Green's in the lineup, they are 67-41-1. It is absolutely mind-blowing how different this Bengals football team is with or without AJ Green in the lineup. It's a new era in Cincinnati, new QB, new regimen, but boy, does it make you respect the T. Higgins pick even more when you see stats like that. Those are our top 5 players, though. Again, would love to hear you guys' 5 most impactful players. As always, thank you guys for watching the video. We'll see you guys next time.